Torah portion this week is entitled Beshalach, translates to when he sent. Torah is taken from Exodus chapter 13 verse 17 through chapter 17 verse 16. Tanakh is from Judges chapter 4 verse 4 through chapter 5 verse 31. And the apostolic portion is taken from the book of Matthew chapter 14 verses 22 through 33. Exodus 13, 17 through 22. And it came to be, when Pharaoh had let the people go, that Elohim did not lead them by the way of the land of the Philistines, though that was near, for Elohim had said, lest the people regret when they see fighting, and return to Mitzrayim. So Elohim led the people around by way of the wilderness of the Sea of Reeds. And the children of Israel went up armed from the land of Mitzrayim. And Moshe took the bones of Joseph with him, for he certainly made the children of Israel swear, saying, Elohim shall certainly visit you, and you shall bring my bones from here with you. And they departed from Succoth, and camped in Etham at the edge of the wilderness. And Yehovah went before them by day in a column of cloud to lead the way, and by night in a column of fire to give them light, so as to go by day and night. The column of cloud did not cease by day, nor the column of fire by night before the people. Exodus 14. And Yehovah spoke to Moshe, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, that they turn and camp before Pi-hahiroth, between Migdol and the sea, opposite Baal-Zephon. Camp before it by the sea. For Pharaoh shall say of the children of Israel, They are entangled in the land, the wilderness has closed them in. And I shall harden the heart of Pharaoh, and he shall pursue them. But I am to be esteemed through Pharaoh and over all his army, and the Mitzrites shall know that I am Yehovah. And they did so. And it was reported to the sovereign of Mitzrayim that the people had fled, and the heart of Pharaoh and his servants was turned against the people. And they said, Why have we done this, that we have let Israel go from serving us? So he made his chariot ready, and took his people with him. And he took 600 choice chariots, and all the chariots of Mitzrayim with officers over all of them. And Yehovah hardened the heart of Pharaoh, sovereign of Mitzrayim, and he pursued the children of Israel. But the children of Israel went out defiantly. And the Mitzrites pursued them, and all the horses and chariots of Pharaoh, and his horsemen and his army, and overtook them camping by the sea, beside Pi-hahiroth, before Baal-Zephon. And when Pharaoh drew near, the children of Israel lifted their eyes, and saw the Mitzrites coming up after them. And they were greatly afraid. So the children of Israel cried out to Yehovah. And they said to Moshe, Did you take us away to die in the wilderness, because there are no graves in Mitzrayim? What is this you have done to us, to bring us up out of Mitzrayim? Is this not the word that we spoke to you in Mitzrayim, saying, Leave us alone, and let us serve the Mitzrites? For it would have been better for us to serve the Mitzrites than to die in the wilderness. And Moshe said to the people, Do not be afraid. Stand still, and see the deliverance of Yehovah, which he does for you today. For the Mitzrites, whom you see today, you are never to see again. Yehovah does fight for you, and you keep still. And Yehovah said to Moshe, Why do you cry to me? Speak to the children of Israel, and let them go forward. And you, lift up your rod, and stretch out your hand over the sea, and divide it, and let the children of Israel go on dry ground through the midst of the sea. And I am hardening the hearts of the Mitzrites, and they shall follow them. And I am to be esteemed through Pharaoh, and over all his army, his chariots, and his horsemen. And the Mitzrites shall know that I am Yehovah, when I am esteemed through Pharaoh, his chariots, and his horsemen. And the messenger of Elohim, who went before the camp of Israel, moved and went behind them. And the column of cloud went from before them and stood behind them, and came between the camp of the Mitzrites and the camp of Israel. And it was the cloud and the darkness, and it gave light by night. And the one did not come near the other all the night. And Moshe stretched out his hand over the sea, and Yehovah caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind all that night, and made the sea into dry land, and the waters were divided. And the children of Israel went into the midst of the sea on dry ground, and the waters were a wall to them on their left and on their right. And the Mitzrites pursued, and went after them into the midst of the sea, all the horses of Pharaoh, his chariots, and his horsemen. And it came to be in the morning watch that Yehovah looked down upon the army of the Mitzrites through the column of fire and cloud, and he brought the army of the Mitzrites into confusion. And he took off their chariot wheels, so that they drove them with difficulty. And the Mitzrites said, Let us flee from the face of Israel, for Yehovah fights for them against the Mitzrites. Then Yehovah said to Moshe, Stretch out your hand over the sea, and let the waters come back upon the Mitzrites, on their chariots, and on their horsemen. And Moshe stretched out his hand over the sea, and the sea returned to its usual flow at the break of day, with the Mitzrites fleeing into it. Thus Yehovah overthrew the Mitzrites in the midst of the sea. And the waters returned, and covered the chariots, and the horsemen, and all the army of Pharaoh that came into the sea after them, and not even one was left of them. And the children of Israel walked on dry ground in the midst of the sea, and the waters were a wall to them, on their right and on their left. Thus Yehovah saved Israel that day out of the hand of the Mitzrites. And Israel saw the Mitzrites dead on the seashore. And Israel saw the great work which Yehovah had done in Mitzrayim. And the people feared Yehovah, and believed Yehovah and his servant Moshe. Exodus 15. Then Moshe and the children of Israel sang this song to Yehovah, and spoke, saying, I sing to Yehovah, for he is highly exalted. The horse and its rider he has thrown into the sea. Yah is my strength and song, and he has become my deliverance. He is my El, and I praise him, Elohim of my father, and I exalt him. Yehovah is a man of battle. Yehovah is his name. He has cast Pharaoh's chariots and his army into the sea, and his chosen officers are drowned in the sea of reeds. The depths covered them, and they went down to the bottom like a stone. Your right hand, O Yehovah, has become great in power. Your right hand, O Yehovah, has crushed the enemy. And in the greatness of your excellence, you pull down those who rose up against you. You sent forth your wrath, it consumed them like stubble. And with the wind of your nostrils the waters were heaped up. The floods stood like a wall. The depths became stiff in the heart of the sea. The enemy said, I pursue, I overtake, I divide the spoil. My being is satisfied on them. I draw out my sword, my hand destroys them. You did blow with your wind, the sea covered them. They sank like lead in the mighty waters. Who is like you, O Yahovah, among the mighty ones? Who is like you, great in set apartness, awesome in praises, working wonders? You stretched out your right hand, the earth swallowed them. In your kindness you led the people whom you have redeemed. In your strength you guided them to your set-apart dwelling. Peoples heard, they trembled, anguish gripped the inhabitants of Philistia. Then the chiefs of Edom were troubled. The mighty men of Moab, trembling grips them. All the inhabitants of Canaan melted. Fear and dread fell on them. By the greatness of your arm, they are as silent as a stone. Until your people pass over, O Yahovah, until the people whom you have bought pass over. You bring them in and plant them in the mountain of your inheritance, in the place, O Yahovah, which you have made for your own dwelling, the set-apart place, O Yahovah, which your hands have prepared. Yahovah reigns forever and ever. For the horses of Pharaoh went with his chariots and his horsemen into the sea, and Yahovah brought back the waters of the sea upon them. And the children of Israel went on dry ground in the midst of the sea. And Miriam the prophetess, the sister of Aharon, took the timbrel in her hand, and all the women went out after her with timbrels and with dances. And Miriam answered them, Sing to Yahovah, for he is highly exalted. The horse and its rider he has thrown into the sea. And Moshe brought Israel from the sea of reeds, and they went out into the wilderness of Shur. And they went 3 days in the wilderness, and found no water. And they came to Marah, and they were unable to drink the waters of Marah, for they were bitter. So the name of it was called Marah. And the people grumbled against Moshe, saying, What are we to drink? Then he cried out to Yahovah, and Yahovah showed him a tree. And when he threw it into the waters were made sweet. There he made a law and a right ruling for him, and there he tried them. And he said, If you diligently obey the voice of Yahovah your Elohim, and do what is right in his eyes, and shall listen to his commands, and shall guard all his laws, I shall bring on you none of the diseases I brought on the Mitzrites, for I am Yahovah who heals you. And they came to Elim, where there were 12 fountains of water and 70 palm trees, and they camped there by the waters. Exodus 16. And they set out from Elim, and all the congregation of the children of Israel came to the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai, on the 15th day of the 2nd month, after their going out of the land of Mitzrayim. And all the congregation of the children of Israel grumbled against Moshe and Aharon in the wilderness. And the children of Israel said to them, If only we had died by the hand of Yahovah in the land of Mitzrayim, when we sat by the pots of meat, and when we ate bread to satisfaction. For you have brought us out into this wilderness to put all this assembly to death with hunger. And Jehovah said to Moshe, See, I am raining bread from the heavens for you, and the people shall go out and gather a day's portion every day, in order to try them, whether they walk in my Torah or not. And it shall be on the 6th day, they shall prepare what they bring in, and it shall be twice as much as they gather daily. And Moshe and Aharon said to all the children of Israel, At evening you shall know that Jehovah has brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim. And in the morning you shall see the esteem of Jehovah, for he hears your grumblings against Jehovah. And what are we that you grumble against us? And Moshe said, In that Jehovah gives you meat to eat in the evening, and in the morning bread to satisfaction. For Jehovah hears your grumblings which you make against him. And what are we? Your grumblings are not against us, but against Jehovah. And Moshe said to Aharon, Say to all the congregation of the children of Israel, Come near before Jehovah, for he has heard your grumblings. And it came to be, as Aharon spoke to all the congregation of the children of Israel, that they looked toward the wilderness, and see, the esteem of Jehovah appeared in the cloud. And Jehovah spoke to Moshe, saying, I have heard the grumblings of the children of Israel. Speak to them, saying, Between the evenings you are to eat meat, and in the morning you are to be satisfied with bread. And you shall know that I am Jehovah your Elohim. And it came to be that quails came up at evening, and covered the camp, and in the morning the dew lay all around the camp. And the layer of dew went up, and see, on the surface of the wilderness was a small round substance, as fine as frost on the ground. And the children of Israel saw, and they said to each other, What is it? For they did not know what it was. And Moshe said to them, It is the bread which Jehovah has given you to eat. This is the word which Jehovah has commanded. Let every man gather it according to each one's need, an omer for each being, according to the number of beings. Let every man take for those who are in his tent. And the children of Israel did so and gathered, some more, some less. And they measured it by omers, and he who gathered much did not have too much, and he who gathered little did not have too little. Each one gathered according to his need. And Moshe said, Let no one leave any of it until morning. And they did not listen to Moshe, so some of them left part of it until morning, and it bred worms and stank. And Moshe was wroth with them. And they gathered it every morning, each one according to his need. And when the sun became hot, it melted. And it came to be on the 6th day, they gathered twice as much bread, 2 omers for each one. And all the rulers of the congregation came and told Moshe. And he said to them, This is what Jehovah has said. Tomorrow is a rest, a Sabbath set apart to Jehovah. That which you bake, bake, and that which you cook, cook. And lay up for yourselves all that is left over, to keep until morning. And they laid it up till morning, as Moshe commanded. And it did not stink, and no worm was in it. And Moshe said, Eat it today, for today is a Sabbath to Jehovah. Today you do not find it in the field. Gather it 6 days, but on the 7th day, which is the Sabbath, there is none. And it came to be that some of the people went out on the 7th day to gather, but they found none. And Jehovah said to Moshe, How long shall you refuse to guard my commands and my Torah? See, because Yahovah has given you the Sabbath, therefore he is giving you bread for 2 days on the 6th day. Let each one stay in his place. Do not let anyone go out of his place on the 7th day. So the people rested on the 7th day. And the house of Yisrael called its name manna. And it was like white coriander seed, and the taste of it was like thin cakes made with honey. And Moshe said, This is the word which Yahovah has commanded. Fill an omer with it, to keep for your generations, so that they see the bread with which I fed you in the wilderness, when I brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim. And Moshe said to Aharon, Take a pot, and put an omer of manna in it, and set it down before Yahovah, to keep for your generations. As Yahovah commanded Moshe, so did Aharon set it down before the witness, to keep. And the children of Israel ate manna 40 years, until they came to an inhabited land. They ate manna until they came to the border of the land of Canaan, and an omer is 1/10 of an ephah. Exodus 17. And all the congregation of the children of Israel set out on their journey from the wilderness of Sin, according to the command of Yahovah, and camped in Rephidim. And there was no water for the people to drink. Therefore the people strove with Moshe, and said, Give us water to drink. And Moshe said to them, Why do you strive with me? Why do you try Yahovah? And the people thirsted there for water. And the people grumbled against Moshe, and said, Why did you bring us out of Mitzrayim, to kill us and our children and our livestock with thirst? Then Moshe cried out to Yahovah, saying, What am I to do with this people? Yet a little, and they shall stone me. And Yahovah said to Moshe, Pass over before the people, and take with you some of the elders of Israel, and take in your hand your rod, with which you smote the river, and go. See, I am standing before you there on the rock in Horeb, and you shall smite the rock, and water shall come out of it, and the people shall drink. And Moshe did so before the eyes of the elders of Israel. And he called the name of the place Massah and Meribah, because of the strife of the children of Israel, and because they tried Yahovah, saying, Is Yahovah in our midst or not? And Amalek came and fought with Israel in Rephidim. And Moshe said to Yehoshua, Choose for us men and go out, fight with Amalek. Tomorrow I am stationing myself on top of the hill, with the rod of Elohim in my hand. And Yehoshua did as Moshe said to him, to fight with Amalek. And Moshe, Aharon, and Hur went up to the top of the hill. And it came to be, when Moshe held up his hand, that Yisrael prevailed. And when he let down his hand, Amalek prevailed. But Moshe's hands were heavy, so they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat on it. And Aharon and Hur supported his hands, one on one side and the other on the other side. And his hands were steady until the going down of the sun. And Yehoshua defeated Amalek and his people with the edge of the sword. And Yahovah said to Moshe, Write this for a remembrance in the book, and recite it in the hearing of Yehoshua, that I shall completely blot out the remembrance of Amalek from under the heavens. And Moshe built an altar and called its name, Yehovah Nissi. For he said, because a hand is on the throne of Yah, Yehovah is to fight against Amalek from generation to generation. Judges 4:4 through 5:31. And Deborah, a prophetess, the wife of Lapidoth, was ruling Israel at that time. And she was dwelling under the palm tree of Deborah, between Ramah and Bethel in the mountains of Ephraim. And the children of Israel came up to her for right ruling. And she sent and called for Barak, son of Abinoam, from Kadesh and Naphtali, and said to him, has not Yehovah Elohim of Israel commanded, go, and you shall draw towards Mount Tabor, and shall take with you 10,000 men of the sons of Naphtali and the sons of Zebulun. And I shall draw unto you Sisera, the commander of Jabin's army, with his chariots and his company at the Wadi Kishon, and shall give him into your hand. And Barak said to her, if you go with me, then I shall go. But if you did not go with me, I do not go. And she said, I shall certainly go with you, only there shall be no esteem for you in the journey you are taking. For Yehovah is going to sell Sisera into the hand of a woman. So Deborah arose and went with Barak to Kadesh. And Barak called Zebulun and Naphtali to Kadesh, and he went up, 10,000 men under his command, and Deborah went up with him. And Heber, the Canaanite of the children of Hobab, the father-in-law of Moshe, had separated himself from the Canaanites, and pitched his tent near the terebinth tree at Sinaim, which is beside Kadesh. And they reported to Sisera that Barak, the son of Abinadab, had gone up to Mount Tabor. So Sisera called all his chariots, 900 chariots of iron, and all the people who were with him, from Harosheth Hagoyim to the Wadi Kishon. And Deborah said to Barak, rise up, for this is the day in which Yehovah has given Sisera into your hand. Has not Yehovah gone out before you? And Barak went down from Mount Tabor with 10,000 men after him. And Yehovah destroyed Sisera and all his chariots and all his army with the edge of the sword before Barak. And Sisera leaped from his chariot and fled away on foot. But Barak pursued the chariots and the army as far as Harosheth Hagoyim, and all the army of Sisera fell by the edge of the sword. Not one was left. Sisera, meanwhile, had fled on foot to the tent of Jael, the wife of Heber the Canaanite, for there was peace between Jabin, sovereign of Hatzor, and the house of Heber the Canaanite. And Jael went out to meet Sisera and said to him, turn aside, my master, turn aside to me, do not fear. So he turned aside with her into the tent, and she covered him with a blanket. And he said to her, please give me a little water to drink, for I am thirsty. So she opened a bottle of milk and gave him a drink and covered him. And he said to her, stand at the door of the tent, and it shall be, if anyone comes and asks you and says, is there a man here? You shall say, no. But Jael, Heber's wife, took a tent peg and took a hammer in her hand, and went softly to him, and drove the peg into the side of his head, and it went down into the ground. For he was fast asleep and exhausted, and he died. And see, as Barak pursued Sisera, Jael came out to meet him, and said to him, come, let me show you the man whom you are seeking. And when he went into her tent, there laid Sisera, dead, with the peg in the side of his head. And on that day Elohim humbled Yavin, sovereign of Canaan, in the presence of the children of Israel. And the hand of the children of Israel grew stronger and stronger against Yavin, sovereign of Canaan, until they had cut off Yavin, sovereign of Canaan. And on that day Deborah and Barak, son of Abinoam, sang, saying, for leaders leading in Israel, for the people volunteering, bless Yehovah. Hear, O sovereigns, give ear, O princes. I do sing to Yehovah. I sing praise to Yehovah, Elohim of Israel. Yehovah, when you went out from Seir, when you stepped from the field of Edom, the earth shook and the heavens poured. The clouds also poured water. The mountains flowed at the presence of Yehovah, this Sinai, at the presence of Yehovah, Elohim of Israel. In the days of Shamgar, the son of Anath, in the days of Yael, the highways were deserted, and the travelers went in crooked ways. Leadership ceased. It ceased in Israel, until I, Deborah, arose. A mother in Israel arose. They chose new mighty ones. Then fighting was in the gates. Neither a shield nor spear was seen among 40,000 in Israel. My heart is toward the lawgivers of Israel, the volunteers among the people. Bless Yehovah. You who ride on white donkeys, you who sit on rich carpets, and you who walk along the way, declare it. By the voice of shouters, between the places of drawing water, there they recount the righteous acts of Yehovah, the righteous acts of his leadership in Israel. Then the people of Yehovah shall go down to the gates. Wake up, Deborah. Wake up, sing a song. Arise, Barak, and lead your captives away, O son of Abinoam. Then he set the remnant to rule the nobles. Yehovah came down for me against the mighty ones. Out of Ephraim the root is against Amalek. After you, Benjamin, with your peoples, out of Machir, lawgivers came down, and out of Zebulun those who handle the scribe's reed. And the heads of Issachar were with Deborah, and as Issachar, so was Barak sent into the valley under his command. Among the divisions of Reuben there was great searchings of heart. Why did you remain among the sheepfolds, to hear the bleatings of the flock? The divisions of Reuben have great searchings of heart. Gilad remained beyond the Jordan, and why did Dan remain on ships? Asher continued at the seashore and remained by its landing places. Zebulun is a people who risked their lives to the point of death. Naphtali also, on the heights of the field. Sovereigns came, they fought. Then the sovereigns of Canaan fought in Tanakh by the waters of Megiddo. They took no spoils of silver. From the heavens they fought. The stars from their courses fought against Sisera. The Wadi of Kishon swept them away, that age-old Wadi, the Wadi of Kishon. O my being, you have trampled in strength. The stamped hoofs of horses, with the galloping of his steeds. Curse Meroz, said a messenger of Yehovah. Curse its inhabitants, because they did not come to the help of Yehovah, to the help of Yehovah among the mighty. Blessed above women is Yael, the wife of Heber the Canaanite. Above women in tents she is blessed. He asked for water, she gave milk. She brought out curdled milk in a bowl for nobles. She stretched her hand to the tent peg. and in her right hand to the workman's hammer. Then she pounded Sisera. She smashed his head. She pierced and struck through the side of his head. Between her feet he bowed. He fell. He laid still. Between her feet he bowed. He fell. Where he bowed, there he fell, destroyed. Through the window the mother of Sisera looked, and cried out through the lattice, "Why does his chariot delay to come? Why have the steps of his chariot tarried?" The wise ones of her princesses answered her. Indeed, she answered herself. Do they not find and divide the spoil, a girl or two for each man, a spoil of dyed work for Sisera, a spoil of dyed work embroidered, dyed work richly embroidered for the necks of the looter? So do all your enemies perish, O Yahovah, but let those who love him be like the sun rising up in its might, and let the land had rest 40 years. Matthew 14:22 through 33. And immediately Yeshua made his taught ones enter into the boat and go before him to the other side, while he dismissed the crowds. And, having dismissed the crowds, he went up to the mountain by himself to pray. And when evening had come, he was alone there. But the boat was now in the middle of the sea, agitated by the waves, for the wind was against it. And in the fourth watch of the night, Yeshua went to them, walking out on the sea. And when the taught ones saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, "It is a phantom." And from fear they cried. But immediately Yeshua spoke to them, saying, "Take courage, it is I. Do not be afraid." And Kepha answered him and said, "Master, if it is you, command me come to you on the water." And he said, "Come." And when Kepha had come down out of the boat, he walked on the water to go to Yeshua. But when he saw that the wind was strong, he was afraid. And beginning to sink, he cried out, saying, "Master, save me." And immediately Yeshua stretched out his hand and took hold of him and said of him, "O you of little belief, why did you doubt?" And when they came into the boat, the wind ceased. And those into the boat came and did bow to him, saying, "Truly, you are the Son of Elohim." Torah portion 15